I was wondering if you have any advice on stopping forced annexation. This comes from Aaron. I live in Red Oak, Texas. I just got involved with a group that is collecting signatures to get Ellis County turned into a Tier 2 county, meaning that any town would have to get the consent of the people in the county before they could be annexed into a town. I didn't know this was happening. We only have until July 6th to get required signatures. I and others are trying our best and was hoping you might give us a shout out. We need volunteers and signatures. And it gives me a website called stopinvoluntaryannexation.org. I know that I am only looking at Ellis County, but all counties in and out around DFW are doing the same thing. Aaron, I think it's great that you guys have a group and you're doing something. And if you are in Ellis County, I really recommend you go to stopinvoluntaryannexation.org and get involved. Because I think it's your signatures that have to be used in Ellis County to get what you want done. I would love to actually get it done in Tarrant County. And here's the problem with it. For the county, there's not a tremendous amount of incentive. Because what is an unincorporated area to the county government? It is an area that you have to provide additional services to because no city or town does. So your sheriff's department has to cover that area. That's the primary thing you have to do as a county that you wouldn't have to do otherwise. Yes, you collect taxes to provide that service, but you collect those taxes where you don't have to provide that service, if you get my drift. So they don't get anything extra in return for it. For the cities, they like annexation because they can grow against the will of other people by annexing them, and then they, yes, will have to provide those services, but now they get to tax those people. So where do you get support for this? And so here's the next problem. The majority of people in any county anywhere live in incorporated towns and cities. They don't care. They largely do not care. I wish they cared more. They should, because you don't have to be for or against something to support the right of others to have it. So to get enough people to take up this cause, you have to get people that largely are not impacted by it to care about it. Kind of like eminent domain. I have a loathing hatred of this process. And I do concern myself with it happening to me. With someday somebody saying, hey, that area over there is developed pretty well, let's grab it. But this is a perfect example of a tyranny of the majority. The other thing that'll happen is, so let's say Lake Worth decides they want to annex my area. But I don't get to vote in Lake Worth. So it's a lot of times what they will do is they'll put it to a vote, but you don't get to vote because you're not part of the town. So they'll tell their citizens how much it would benefit them to increase the tax base. And then the citizens will vote to annex you. In an election you don't even get to vote in. This is basically eminent domain at the county level or the city level. We're just going to grab you and make you be part of us. And I don't even think it's reasonable to annex if you do get to vote. I think it's a good defensive posture. At least we can say no, and if 51% of us say no, then fine. But, well, what about let's say it's a 90% vote, but 10% are happy with the way things are. Why should they be compelled to become part of a city that when they bought the land, it wasn't that way, and they don't want any part of it? This is one of the problems we have in our country today, that this is even doable. Personally, I think if you want to annex a person's property, you should have to have their consent. Well, what if Joe Blow has his little 3 acres like Jack does in the middle like an island, and everybody else wants to be part of it? Great, then Joe Blow gets to keep his little piece as an unannexed parcel, just like if you formed a homeowners association, as much as I loathe those, if I don't agree to it, I don't have to be part of it. And that's how that works out. You can't compel someone to join your homeowners association. That's why they always set them up when they do the development. But if all your neighbors get together and want to do an HOA, they can't make you be part of it. They can't do it. But I don't have any ideas other than, organize. What else can you do? I think you get as much media exposure as you can on this issue and explain, look, we're not part of that. We don't want to be part of that. There's no compelling reason for us to be part of what they're just grabbing it because they can. And I guess effective use of the media is probably the #1 tool that you have at your disposal. Because again, you have to get people who are largely unaffected by it, care about the fact that their fellow Americans' freedoms are being, I live in a town, I don't understand what's so bad about it. That's the problem you're going to get into. So again, if you live in Ellis County, get involved with this. There's a link in today's show notes.